I have no idea how you found this show, but I'm glad that you did. Hey, I'm John Hicks. Join me and my band of crazies today on the Retirement Solution Podcast.
Here with John Hicks, I'm Jennifer Perry. This is a retirement podcast, yes, but it's not like any other financial show that you're listening to. So if you like us, subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you think. You can always weigh in with your questions too at retirementsolutionradio.com. So I did think we would start with a fun headline this week.
Ooh.
It actually sounds like some really good news for retirement savers here, John. Fidelity says the number of 401k millionaires hit another new record in the second quarter. So we just keep setting records like this. Seems like every single quarter. But the average 401k balance is also at a record high, more than $129,000 for the average saver. But the news is better for those who've been working for 15 years or more and contributing to those 401ks. Those average balances are now $512,000. Now, that actually was very promising considering all the surveys we see about this retirement crisis and how little most people have saved. But if you have been one of those really successful savers and the market's been good to you for the last several years, if you've stashed that much cash, John, is that still the best place for your money in that 401k?
You know, Jennifer, it's interesting. So when I talk to most people, I'd say probably 80% of the folks I run into, the largest savings they have is in their 401k. You know, there's a handful of us out there as small business owners or whatever. We have some money elsewhere. But for the grand majority of us, if it's not in real estate, it's in that 401k. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that Fidelity did the study. And by the way, I think Fidelity is a pretty good outfit for the most part. I think that they actually have it down when it comes down to money management. And so what Fidelity basically has said is that, hey, you know, for those people that are doing well, they've saved $500,000 in these 401ks. So one of the things you asked, though, Jennifer, just a second ago was, hey, is that 401k still the best spot for it?
Yeah.
And here's how I'd answer that. If you're over 59 and a half and you have $500,000 saved in those accounts or more, the answer would be no.
No.
The 401k is not the best vehicle for you. Now, it's just arbitrary for me to say $500,000 and you should think about something different. But it just happens to be, Jennifer, that when you're looking at 401ks in and of themselves, there have been study after study after study. One of the biggest ones that got a tremendous amount of press was one that was done by the Tony Robbins Foundation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went out to try to find out, hey, well, why come more Americans don't have more money? You know, the stock market seems to go up over time. How come there aren't more millionaires in their 401ks? And what he uncovered was the standard 401k, the fees inside that sucker are 2 to 5 times higher than if you just had those same holdings in an IRA or something else.
Wow. And the most mind-blowing piece of that is that he actually went to Wall Street.
He did.
And people who worked on these 401k plans themselves, they didn't know.
Jennifer, they actually went to Ted Benning, who was considered the father of the modern 401k. Okay.
Yeah.
And what Ted said was, hey, if I had known what this thing was going to turn into, I would never have signed off on it. Like the way that we thought that this legislation and how we were going to develop the 401k, the way we thought about it is not this monster that it's become, that's sucking money from people's portfolios and they don't even know it. They're being robbed blind. The Tony Robbins Foundation not only discovered that, has the empirical data behind it, but they even had Ted Benning say the same thing. Wow. So here's the whole thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, it's a travesty. I mean, if you have your money in a 401k, you're an absolute loser and terrible human being. No, not at all. Sometimes it's the only thing we have access to. But if we get to the point in time, and here's the thing, Jennifer, and if you're out there listening, this is a big turning point for you guys. If you're 59 and a half and you've saved better than $500,000 in a 401k, ding, 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 ding. Congratulations, you have graduated.
Oh.
And what do I mean by graduated? You have the ability, because of the rules of most of the law of the land, if you were 59 and a half, you can do what they call an in-service withdrawal, which means you're not leaving your company, you're not changing potentially your investment ideology. All you're doing is taking that money out of that expensive 401k, and you can put it in your own individual retirement account, your own IRA, and get this, you can pay potentially a ninth of the cost that you're currently paying.
Wow.
How crazy is that? So, Jennifer, I had a couple that came into the office a couple of weeks ago now, And they had Fidelity funds. And believe me, I said I think that Fidelity is a good company. But we actually pulled up their information on one of our systems we use. It's called personalfund.com. And it's third party. It's completely unbiased.
Okay.
All it does is break down what you own and find out if there's cheaper solutions. But one of the things that these guys said was, hey, John, we've had these Fidelity Freedom funds forever and ever and ever. Hey, they seem to be doing pretty good. Why would I want to change? And my answer was, well, you may not want to change. Let's just find out what they cost, and let's find out if there's a Vanguard or a Charles Schwab or a TD Ameritrade equivalent that's a lot cheaper and do the same thing. Well, Jennifer, we ran it on their Fidelity Freedom 2025 fund. Now, again, let me hedge this by saying, if you own this, it doesn't mean you get rid of it.
Right.
If you love it, don't get rid of it. If
Right.
it fits all of your parameters, that's fine. I'm just going to let you know the cost. See, Jennifer, because of where they held it, they paid over 2% on their money, and that wasn't even the most expensive fund they had. They had some that, because of where they held it, they paid over 3%.
Oh, boy.
Now, I don't know about you, but I find that to be pretty dang expensive.
Yeah, especially knowing the options out there today, John. You've talked about in recent weeks. I mean, there are some where you're paying fractions of a percent, right?
Oh, absolutely. So the reason we looked at this is that Freedom 2025 fund, you could easily create on your own using Vanguard, and the total cost would be less than 0.05%. Now, I know I've just used a whole bunch of numbers. So let me say it like this. On $500,000, would you rather pay $10,000 a year to have that money managed by Fidelity? Or would you rather pay about $400 a year
Oh, I
to
can
have that
keep
money
thousands.
managed
It's fine.
Right.
Wow.
And so that's what I'm saying. So amazingly enough, this is not the first time we've seen this. This is the 100th time, 200th time, 800th time. It seems like everyone I talk to, when they have a 401k, the funds in them, guys, they're not bad. There's just a lot better options if we want to save that money and keep it in our pockets and not go to the fund companies. That's why Tony Robbins did the study. That's why I always say, hey, 401k is not a bad thing. It's just not the best thing. So if you're trying to find out what is the most optimum thing that you can do with your money, sometimes it's not changing your philosophy, maybe even your advisor. Sometimes it's just changing how it's allocated. Should it be in a 401k or just in an IRA? If you just do that one thing, and if you have a similar situation like the couple I met with a couple weeks ago, you could be saving $10,000 a year.
Man, that is more money for you to enjoy. $10,000 for a lot of us. Pay for a really nice vacation somewhere right now. And I can think of many better options out there. But here's the thing, John. We also recognize with people, not only is the 401k typically the easiest vehicle where they can save their money, but we got busy during our working lives and we didn't revisit the options. We didn't look at the fine print to figure out the fees.
Sure.
This is something you and your staff, though, run all the time for people, right?
Well, it's super important because here's the thing. It's not like they're lying and thieving. They're telling us the truth, and they're putting it in plain English. They're just putting it in the course of about 935 pages that are thinner than the New Testament pages in those little Gideon's Bibles.
Right.
I mean, they're the thinnest pages ever. You can see both sides of print through them. And so when you're trying to figure out going through which paragraph on subsection 21.441 IEA, what you're trying to find that it fits your needs, you can't find it. The amazing thing is that I've kind of made this one of my missions. How can I find all the hidden fees? We kind of enjoy that in our office. It's kind of like, hey, if you can find a fee I didn't find, I give a little bit of a bonus to my staff.
Nice.
Because I just find it to be amazing on all the ways that somehow all those big name fund companies have their names at the top of all these skyscrapers, and somehow we don't. Well, there has to be a reason for it, and those internal fees, guys, those are the killers.
Thanks for listening. Want more from John? Find us online at retirementsolutionradio.com.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. J. Hagan Capital is a registered investment advisor. To find out if John Hicks is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal advice. Annuity guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products and annuities offered through John Hicks. Kentucky Insurance License Number 998827.